Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video I'm going to be answering your most frequently asked questions. So the first question, or the most asked questions on NGO registration, which is one of my most watched videos, right? One of the most asked question is, what are the documents that are required for registration? So I did like a free checklist. I'm going to put the link in the description so that you can get that free checklist. So but basically it consists of the name of all the information of all the trustees, constitution, minutes of meetings. But if you check that checklist, it has all the required documents that even I didn't just mention. So the second one, or the second question, that one of my subscribers have asked is, what should be in the newspaper publication? So the newspaper publication is one of the major requirements for registering an NGO. And I also did a video previously where I mentioned how you can upload your newspaper publication. Now the newspaper publication, what is required is, you're supposed to put, it's supposed to have the name or the approved name of the NGO, number one. The second thing is, it must have the main object. What does the NGO want to do? Then the third thing is, it must have all the names of the trustees, including the chairman and the secretary. Now, if you want to upload it, in my previous video, I showed you like how I usually upload, but there is another method that you can upload, which is also a good method. There's a free website that I use that I'm going to put the links in the description so you can use them as well. What I do is, I go to that website, I use either small, okay, sorry guys for picking my nose. So I'm going to put the link in the description so that you can also make use of the website. So what I use is, I use either small PDF or I love PDF, but I know there are other ones that you can also use, but those are the ones that I use. What I do is, I extract the newspaper. So usually if it's a digital newspaper, what I do is, I extract the pages. I go to the feature that says extract pages. I leave the front page, because the front page has to be there with the date the newspaper was published, and the headline or the front page of the newspaper. Then the second requirement, is the page where your NGO was mentioned, with the name, and the aim of the NGO. So that page will also be required. So I will remove or extract all the other pages that I don't need, and leave the front page and that particular page. I will do that for the second newspaper as well. You don't need to upload the whole entire newspaper online. What you need to upload is just the front page and the page where your NGO is mentioned. I hope that that was simple. Okay, so the third question is, if the NGO does not have a physical address, can I use my home address? The answer to that question is yes. You can use your home address, because it is presumed that, when you're just starting an NGO or a church, you probably haven't really figured out what exactly you want to do, but you just know that you want to help people, right? And you may not have like a permanent address yet. That doesn't mean that you cannot do the NGO. So you can use your home address. However, make sure that the address is an identifiable address, is an address that you can easily identify, which means that you cannot put addresses like behind corner, or behind a mosque, or beside a police station. That will not work. It has to have like a house number or a plot number address, that somebody can easily be able to identify. So the third question is, how do you change trustees? So let me classify it for you like this. Pre-incorporation, right, is when you're just starting your registration, which is what you are doing at this point now. Pre-incorporation, which means that it hasn't been registered, so it is pre. Once it has been registered, it will now become post incorporation, because it has already been registered. So if you are a trustee in that NGO, you can do post incorporation. You can easily change trustees, but in order for you to do that, you have to do a newspaper publication. Whatever change you want to do for incorporated trustee, NGO or association, or any other thing like that, you must do a newspaper publication again. So once you've registered the company, right, you have up to 72 hours for you to make any other change. You can't make a change before then. But if you are having difficulty with that, you can also get a an accredited agent, a lawyer, a chartered accountant or chartered secretary, because I believe that, post is a bit complicated, so, but however, you can still do it yourself, but just bear in mind that you need to do a newspaper publication if you want to make any change to incorporated trustee. Then the fourth question is, what are the steps for NGO registration? Well, the steps are very, straightforward. The steps are, you have to get the reservation code first. That's name availability, which is to check whether the name is available. Now, for an NGO, it's not like, the other incorporation or like a company or business name. It's not like that. You have to put all the information, the constitution, the names of all the trustees, and then the aims and objectives for you to be able to apply for the RG's consent. That's the reservation code that you will use for the registration. So after you have done that, and then you get your NGO name approved. Once it is approved, the next step would be for you to do a newspaper publication. When you do a newspaper publication, you have to patiently wait for 28 days. That newspaper publication has to be in two national dailies, and you have to wait for 28 days. Now, everything has gone global, so it's mostly digital publications that we get. So if you are having trouble, with getting a newspaper publication, you can let me know in the comment section, and I'll help you with that. After your newspaper publication and it is already 28 days, the next step for you would be, to put your remaining information in the CAC portal and upload all the required documents and just submit. Once it is approved, you'll get a notification. Then the last step will be that once you get, your certificate of incorporation, you have registered your NGO. So the steps are pretty straightforward. I've also done like a toolkit. I'm going to put the link in the description for how you can register your NGO by yourself without using a lawyer or an accredited agent. And the steps are pretty straightforward. I also, tell you what are the documents you need. And those documents, I put all the documents that are required, how you can upload your newspaper publication, a sample newspaper publication. And I also put also the steps and how you can easily fill the forms without it getting queried. So if you don't want it to be queried and you don't want to waste time, then you need to get this toolkit. I'm going to put the link in the description box so you can get it. I register, a church in Abuja if I'm not in Abuja. So because the world has gone global, like I said, CAC registration or NGO registrations can be done online on the CAC portal. I'm also going to put the link of the CAC portal in the description so that you can get, you can be able to, start your own registration. But the truth of the matter is, wherever you are in Nigeria, or even if you're outside the country and you want to register a company in Nigeria, definitely you can do that from anywhere you are if you just log on to their portal, and you'll get your certificate right where you are, your digital certificate wherever you are. So number 8 is, what is the maximum tenure for trustees? So the law, there's no specific, tenure for trustees, but you can put 2 years or more if you want. But what I usually do is I usually use like 10 years, because if you're just starting and you don't have any plan of changing your trustees anytime soon, as much as 30 years, there's no law restricting how many years you want your trustees to be working in the NGO. You can change them anytime you want, but at least in the constitution it should state like how many years the tenure should be. But the tenure is really at your own discretion: 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 30 years, no matter how long you want. There's really no restriction in regards to that one. Then the ninth question is, how many trustees are needed? So the law says you need 2 trustees, minimum of 2 trustees. Only one person cannot register an NGO. You need a minimum of 2 trustees and a maximum of 15 trustees. So, but at least you can put like 2, 3, or even 5 trustees. I like to use like an odd number, 5. You don't need too many trustees, really. Trustees are like, board members. You don't need 20 board members. You just need, the most important or specific people. Maybe in the future you can add more or less, but it cannot be less than 2 and it cannot be more than 15. So the next question is, can a church be registered as a limited by guarantee company? So in my opinion, a church cannot be registered as a limited by guarantee company, because a church is presumed to be a not-for-profit organization. That they are registered for the purpose of helping people, and they are not allowed to make profit. They are not allowed to make profit or earn money or anything like that. But a limited by guarantee is, even though you are doing what you're doing for the society, you can still make profit, you can still make money. The only difference is the money cannot be shared amongst the trustees, but yes, you can still make money. But if you are a church and you want to do business, I'd say register the church as an NGO and then register the business of the church separately. Is can you Okay, the next question is, what if you have a branch in the UK or US of the NGO? If you have a branch, it's required, that you register it under Nigerian law. If you want to work or do some things in Nigeria for a long period of time. That's not to say that WHO cannot come to Nigeria or do outreaches or anything. No. But the thing is, if you want to, be using it in Nigeria, or you want to be doing a lot of things in Nigeria for a long time, I'd suggest that you register, the NGO in Nigeria, and then mention it in the constitution that there are branches in the UK and in the US. And also, you can use the trustees that you have in the UK or US NGO as trustees in Nigeria, and you can also use that particular name since it has not been registered in Nigeria. So the last question is, can you do it yourselves? That's DIY. Of course, you can definitely register your NGO by yourself. However, you have to be one of the trustees to be able to do the registration by yourself. You can click the link and get my toolkit if you're registering your NGO by yourself, to make the process a bit simpler. If you found this video helpful, let me know in the comment section. If you also need more questions answered, or you have more queries, or you need help with getting your digital newspaper publication or with registration, let me know in the comment section and I'll be willing to help you. Until I see you guys in my next video, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and put on your notification bell so each time I post a video you get notified. Thank you guys. Until I see you guys in my next video. Bye.